stage came in the 2024 Australian Open, where she stunned the tennis world by defeating world number 2 Iga Swiatek on her way.
Welcome back to peak-level high-stakes tennis breakdown. While mainstream outlets cover the Indian Wells round of 16, they're feeding you polished corporate messaging. Watch any traditional broadcast analyze the Eala versus Linda Nosková showdown, and you'll hear sanitized storylines about emerging talent. Expect phrases like cinematic journey, breakthrough moment, and promising future stars. They'll paint this as wholesome competition between two ambitious players chasing desert glory.
And like Eala, Nosková has been a fast riser, becoming the youngest player in the WTA Top 100 in 2022.
This narrative isn't just misleading. It represents a massive blind spot regarding the savage economic warfare currently reshaping professional women's tennis. What's unfolding isn't some heartwarming story. You're witnessing pure corporate demolition in real time. Two ruthless specialists from completely different tennis manufacturing systems are about to collide in a winner-takes-all battle for future market control. Eala stepping onto court against the 20-year-old Czech powerhouse Linda Nosková isn't competing for hardware. She's fighting for complete sectoral domination, where defeat means brutal exile from the global spotlight economy.
Powerful baseline game featuring a heavy serve, heavy ground strokes, and the ability to dictate points from the back of the court.
Understanding this matchup's staggering implications requires a deep dive forensic breakdown of the opposition. Linda Nosková transcends typical player classification. She represents the newest, most refined output from the planet's most merciless tennis production facility, the Czech Republic Development System. Czech tennis infrastructure doesn't cultivate creativity, it manufactures destroyers. The state-supported industrial complex systematically creates towering, lethal, flat-striking baseline weapons that annihilate competition through pure kinetic brutality. Nosková exemplifies this current production era's crown achievement. Standing 5'10", her physical specifications provide biomechanical advantages that generate crushing leverage on groundstroke exchanges. She doesn't architect points through construction. She executes immediate, violent, completely ruthless termination without regard for opposing player welfare. Think walking corporate raid, systematically disrupting established hierarchies through force. This isn't potential we're discussing. This is proven operational capacity, with documented success eliminating major corporate assets on tennis's biggest platforms. Consider her track record carefully.
Eala and Nosková are no strangers to each other. The Filipina beat Nosková twice during their junior careers, including...
Pause and absorb this reality. She obliterated tennis establishment by demolishing world number 2 Iga Swiatek at the Australian Open. Iga Swiatek isn't merely competition, she's a walking monopoly, a multi-million-dollar defensive empire most players simply accept as unbreachable. When typical WTA Tour members face Swiatek, they mentally concede and brace for systematic 60-minute destruction. Nosková drew Swiatek in Melbourne, stared directly at tennis royalty, and executed without microseconds of doubt. This wasn't fortunate circumstances. This was blazing advertisement to the entire global sports marketplace that Nosková owns the psychological ruthlessness necessary to liquidate sports' premier assets completely. You can't manufacture that ice-cold finishing ability. It demands fundamental disrespect for established order, core conviction that veteran players represent obsolete assets awaiting removal from balance sheets. Such merciless intensity has powered one of modern tennis's most explosively rapid rises. Business environments measure assets through annual growth metrics and aggressive market share acquisition in oversaturated landscapes. Noskova's progression defines exponential expansion perfectly. A massive 100-mile-per-hour flat forehand down the line and the ball simply comes back. What happens when you hit a second massive shot and it comes back? Reaching youngest WTA Top 100 status in 2022, then smashing into the top 50 within 12 months, this isn't gradual, methodical advancement. This represents algorithmic scaling warfare. Nosková completely bypassed traditional professional tour initiation protocols, while competitors spent years suffering through miserable budget ITF circuit battles, desperately scraping for ranking points while battling financial collapse. Nosková simply demolished the top 50's front entrance and commanded boardroom recognition. She's already secured WTA title ownership. She's already experienced rarefied top 15 atmosphere. Her Indian Wells arrival isn't hopeful challenger seeking positive outcomes, but established stakeholder anticipating substantial returns. She carries overwhelming, suffocating confidence of someone who understands precisely how much destruction her physical arsenal can unleash. Breaking down her exact biomechanical damage delivery system becomes essential because comprehending Noskova's physical specifications is the only path to understanding the nightmarish geometric challenge Alex Eala must navigate. Noskova's foundation centers entirely on minimal margin maximum velocity ball contact and begins to glitch. Noskova will be forced to hit 3, 4, 5 extra balls every single rally. The heavy desert air and the abrasive hardcourt will begin to drain her physical reserves. Her legs will get heavy, her backswing will tighten. And exactly at the moment when physical exhaustion meets the deeply ingrained psychological trauma of those junior defeats, the unforced errors will begin to cascade. Eala is the ultimate distressed asset investor. She does not force the market to crash. She simply waits patiently, perfectly positioned, while the opponent bankrupts themselves through sheer frustration and tactical stubbornness. Furthermore, we must address the macroeconomic environment surrounding this specific match. Indian Wells is the 5th Grand Slam. It is the absolute epicenter of the global tennis economy outside of the 4 majors. The billionaires are sitting in the luxury suites. The global brand directors from Nike, Rolex, and Porsche are watching closely, evaluating which of these young assets is worth a multi-million-dollar, decade-long investment. Advancing to the quarterfinals here is not just about ranking points. It is a violent, permanent shift in a player's global brand equity. If Linda Noskova wins, she validates the Czech factory model. She proves that her victory over Swiatek was not an anomaly, but the new standard operating procedure. She solidifies her status as the apex predator of the next gen. But if Alex Eala wins, the geopolitical ramifications are absolutely staggering. Alex Eala is not just representing herself, she is the sole, undisputed monopolistic entity representing the entire nation of the Philippines, and its incredibly massive, hyper-engaged, highly capitalized global diaspora. We are talking about a demographic of over 110 million people who treat every single match Eala plays as a matter of absolute national security. When Eala steps onto stadium court, she brings with her an army that completely hijacks the acoustic environment of the venue. The crowd at Indian Wells will not be neutral, it will be a localized, deafening version of Manila. Noskova is used to playing in quiet, sterile European environments. She is going to walk into a wall of sound, a relentless, vibrating pressure cooker designed to isolate her, intimidate her, and force her central nervous system into a state of perpetual panic. Every double fault will be cheered. Every unforced error will be met with a roar that shakes the concrete. Eala leverages this crowd not as a distraction, but as a highly weaponized corporate shield. She draws powerful serving, crushing ground strokes controlling points from baseline positions. When discussing crushing ground strokes within Czech tennis factory context, we're examining very precise ball flight characteristics. Noskova strikes remarkably penetrating shots. She avoids extreme topspin safety loops over net height. She rockets balls straight through court space, eliminating angles, stealing opponent reaction time milliseconds. Within California desert's arid, thin, harsh atmospheric conditions, penetrating heavy shots function like guided missiles. They don't pause waiting for contact. They explode through strike zones violently. Miss footwork timing by fractions, delay racket preparation by millimeters, Noskova's velocity will demolish your defensive framework, creating embarrassing unforced error cascades. She's engineered to create rushed, panicked, completely overwhelmed feelings. Think high-frequency algorithmic trading, processing transactions faster than nervous systems can compute incoming data. So how does Alex Eala, lacking equivalent raw, overwhelming height and penetrating kinetic force, survive this assault? How does the Philippine sensation prevent the Czech destroyer from simply overpowering her off-court, ending this supposed fairy tale in straight sets? Solutions exist within deep, hidden, classified documentation of their mutual background. Here, mainstream coverage completely fails. They examine current rankings, analyze recent performances, assume clean slate beginnings. But elite professional tennis operates on deeply psychological foundations. It's built on memories, scars, and outstanding psychological debts. Eala maintains psychological ownership over Linda Nosková, spanning nearly 10 years. The Philippine star defeated Nosková twice during junior development phases. Stop and examine this forensically because it represents the absolute pivot point determining this entire Indian Wells quarterfinal outcome. During 2018 at Les Petits As, the most prestigious elite junior competition globally, a tournament functioning as ultimate proving grounds for future international superstars, Eala eliminated Nosková completely. Then 2 years forward on Paris red clay at French Open junior quarterfinals, with elevated stakes, with global talent evaluation agencies monitoring every movement, Eala repeated the performance. Eala methodically deconstructed the Czech machine systematically, grasped the accumulated psychological liability this establishes, understand the absolute dread permanently embedded in Nosková's mental programming. When Nosková surveys across Indian Wells net, she won't simply observe current world number 32. She'll confront phantoms of personal developmental disasters. She'll face the singular opponent who demonstrated on tennis's most significant junior platforms that raw penetrating power becomes completely worthless against superior geometric thinking. Those defeats don't fade from memory. They embed permanently. They create microscopic confidence infrastructure damage. Every critical breakpoint Nosková attempts against Eala, her subconscious will transport her back to Paris red dirt trauma. Eala doesn't merely control baseline territory, she owns psychological real estate inside Nosková's consciousness. And at WTA 1000 round of 16 level, where victory and defeat margins become razor thin, that historical psychological advantage equals pure gold value. Eala's strategic approach for this encounter represents masterful hostile psychological combat. As Rafa Nadal Academy product, she learned more than ball striking technique. She discovered how to weaponize endurance. Eala understands Nosková's penetrating aggressive force depends completely on rhythm, precise timing, and cooperative targets. Eala's primary mission involves becoming the most uncooperative, mathematically infuriating presence possible. She won't attempt overpowering Nosková. That would guarantee elimination. You don't combat tanks using handguns. Instead, Eala will deploy elite heavy topspin to fundamentally restructure baseline exchange geometry. She'll strike balls deep, high, and heavy, completely neutralizing the contact zones Nosková requires for shot flattening. Eala will transform this contest from high-speed racing into grueling, lung-burning, lactic acid-building desert heat warfare. Consider physiological and psychological impact on power players like Nosková. When your entire identity, your complete corporate value stems from believing your best shots will simply end points. What happens when you deliver your absolute best?
Shot, and it returns even higher, deeper, and more challenging. Mental breakdown initiates. The system crashes completely. Eala has already demonstrated her ability to absorb tremendous crowd pressure, extracting energy from it, converting the weight of 100 million global observers into pure ice-cold court execution. Mainstream analysts will claim Linda Nosková holds favorite status due to ranking position and explosive power capabilities. Casual observers will examine her Swiatek victory and assume Eala's breakthrough journey faces violent termination. Let them trust surface-level data. Real operators, those who truly comprehend professional sports, ruthless business fundamentals, understand statistics, become meaningless when confronting historical psychological damage, geometric advantages, and mobilized global market forces. Eala has already proven her capacity to neutralize Coco Gauff's power, forcing the American sensation into systematic breakdown. She's already demonstrated that elevated stakes sharpen her tactical modifications lethally. Nosková believes she's entering standard tennis competition against ascending talent. Reality shows her